How to max out your health savings account. Yes, the account that's most important. Most people save for retirement monetarily, but they forget the account that has to last the longest, and that's you. Living to 80, 90, or 100 without being in a wheelchair, drooling from the mouth, staring at a wall in a personal care home. So we want to hedge your bets because the longevity industry preys on you. It wants your money. The red light therapy panels, the CGMs, the cold plunge tubs, peptide stacks are certainly relevant today. IV drips for vitamins you can get in pill form, and supplements that you can't name. And some has merit, most of it doesn't. It's a $1 billion industry that preys on that very natural human fear: getting old, falling apart, dying, and running out of time before you really want to. So here's what no one wants to admit in this industry is the most powerful longevity tools you have are free. And you probably already know what they are, but there's some nuances, and that's what this video is going to dive into. So the truth about living well is I turned 41 this year. Honestly, I feel better than I did at 31. That's not hyperbole. I have more energy, a decent mood. I sleep well. I'm not shredded, but I have a lean enough body fat percentage that DEXA scans and the apps that they sync to show about my biological age is roughly in the 30s, low 30s. So what is that? Well, ultimately, it just helps me keep up with my kids. I'm not on a wait list for surgery, not popping pills to get through the afternoon. And really, I'm not saying this to impress, but to impress upon you. And it's only going to get harder over the next decades. I get that for myself. But it doesn't happen by accident. It's the choices, the compound effect. And we want to make deposits in our health savings account more than withdrawals. Okay. Every workout logged, every night I choose sleep over one more episode, every walk I take when I don't really feel like it, every protein target I hit, none of that's like magic in the moment, but it compounds. And that's the whole game here. Okay. So think of your body like a bank account. Every healthy choice you make is a deposit. And every time you skip a workout, shortchange your sleep, or eat like a college student for a weekend, that's a withdrawal. And it's not to say you can't have some withdrawals. That's life. But most people are making mostly withdrawals, and they're not depositing enough back. And eventually you'll be in overdraft, right? And that's when you're getting in trouble. That's when compound interest works against you. And it shows up as a diagnosis or a surgery or a conversation with your doctor that you didn't see coming. Or for most people, it's just a slow realization that, I'm tired all the time. I feel like crap. I look like crap. And I can't remember when this actually started or how it really took hold. And it's subtle. And the science suggests that muscle mass starts to decline in our 30s. Metabolism may a little bit, but that's more driven by our choices than our actual biology. And people who don't actively fight against biology lose, anywhere from 3 to 8% of their muscle every decade. And by the time you're 70, that shows up in falls, fractures. You just can't get up off the toilet. Insulin resistance, like prediabetes or diabetes, cognitive decline, which obviously leads to dementia, Alzheimer's, and a body that needs help, right? We don't want that. The good news is you have a ton of influence over how this plays out, okay? So hard now, easy now. That's not a typo. You've heard hard now, easy later. I argue the point is it's easy now if you make the hard choices. Okay, what does that mean? Well, most people treat like healthy habits as punishment, like a miserable tax you have to pay to someday hopefully reap the benefits when you're older. But the dividends show up immediately. When you strength train, when you eat better, you sleep better. Within days, your mood stabilizes, your energy goes up. You earn more money according to the research. You walk taller. Your clothes fit how they should, and your brain ultimately benefits. Just like when you drink water and hit your steps, you know that afternoon crash isn't coming like it does if you're sedentary, relying on coffee. Focus improves. You feel less tired. That's the right now benefit of doing these things. It's not to kind of push, because that's not motivating enough to say, if I do the work now, I'll be good in retirement. I'll feel great at 80. I don't think that gets people out of bed. But when we realize our lifestyle determines so much of how we feel, think, and perform each day, that's when the magic happens. So what does this actually look like to summarize this whole thing? I coach something called the Big Five. 5 habits, that's it. I've shared it probably before. It's a bit redundant for some, but it is truly the foundation. Then the nuances and advanced stuff can get built on top of that. So number 1 is eat the right amount. So depending on your goal, some people are in muscle focused phases. So they need to eat in a surplus. Most people need to eat in a slight deficit to lose fat, but it's calories and protein dialed in. The CAP framework is key. 2, drink your 3 liters of water. I don't have that handy. I should drink mine today. Widely underrated. Brain works better. You know the difference between thirst and appetite, blah, blah, blah. 3, sleep that 7+ hours a night. You really can't out train, out exercise, out supplement chronic sleep deprivation. It touches everything fully. Your hormones, your appetite regulation, whether or not you lose preferentially fat or muscle or a combination. Next one is lift weights 3 to 4 times a week for most. Honestly, 30 minutes in and out is great for the majority of people at home-based home workouts where they're pushing to near failure a lot of the time. And last but not least is just move daily. 8,000 steps is the target for most. That's kind of the floor. Upwards of 10,000, better to a point, but it's not necessarily linear either. Like if you can't sustain 15,000 steps, I wouldn't suggest trying to aim for that. So that's the savings account. Those 5 habits you deposit in daily. They're not going to go viral on TikTok, but when those are dialed in, your health savings account overflows. You're in abundance. You're a rich, healthy person. And now the outlier argument, someone will say, well, my uncle smoked a pack a day and lived till 94 and whatever. Outliers exist, but by definition, they are rare. The majority of people that smoked a pack a day, drank like a fish, died younger than they should have. That's just reality. Now, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow, you could too. That doesn't mean you stop looking both ways. The point isn't to guarantee anything. It's stack the deck in your favor. Hedge your bets. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if this will pay off in 50 years. I just know right now, when I do the right things, I feel good today. I have more energy. I'm more productive in my work. People just treat me better and I have more confidence. And the cost of that is a little discomfort. Some early mornings, pushing through some hard workouts, saying no to a few things. That cost is temporary, whereas the compound interest that it develops and the return on investment there is not. That's permanent. Whereas the cost of making the easy choices now tends to do some real damage in the future. Okay? Because I'm sure you already know someone your age who's paying the price for too many easy choices. Not because they're bad people, because maybe they just weren't reminded or had someone to guide them in the right direction, and then the bill came due and they've got cancer or whatever else. So just think of future you as not some distant stranger. That's you in 10 years. Do you want to be able to take that hike with your kids or grandkids? Take that trip to Europe without feeling so restricted it's not going to be worthwhile for you, mobility-wise. Ultimately, that version of you is being built right now with every choice you make, for better or worse. And it's not about perfection. It's about progress, putting more deposits in than you're withdrawing. Because every time you hit your targets, you're making a deposit. Every time you choose sleep over another episode of Housewives, you're making a deposit. And every time you get in your steps when you didn't feel like it, it's another deposit that's benefiting you now and in the future. So, compound interest. One day, likely tomorrow, you'll be glad you made those deposits. That's it for today. If you want a freebie, in the description below, my free Metabolism Jumpstart will get you started in the right direction. Kind of puts all the big 5 together into a simple 7-day plan for you to get started.